Sistas, Bonafide. Sistas, Bonafide. Sistas, Bonafide. I got my sister and me.
Hello.
Hi, girl.
Hey, girlfriend. How are you? Why are we so silly?
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy
Happy-
Galentine's Day.
Happy Galentine's Day. Yes, girl. How are you doing?
I am doing good, girl. I'm ready to jump right on into this conversation.
Yes, so I think this is the perfect conversation for this day, right? Like it just ties in perfectly. So what the topic that we're going to talk about today is being in a relationship, in a partnership, whatever you want to call it, a marriage, whatever, a union with someone, and you guys having friends of the opposite sex, of the opposite gender. Like, let's get into it because it could be controversial. So let's talk about it. Like, what are our thoughts about that?
It can be, and I think this is a great conversation to have. So, like I told you off camera, I took notes because I just want to gather my thoughts, making sure I hit all my points. But I'm going to start off by saying that I don't think it should be forbidden, but of course that comes with boundaries, and that also comes with understanding the person's intention. Right. I think that now that I'm older, I know now it's unrealistic to say that you won't have friends of the opposite gender. Like, it's an unrealistic thing, right?
Right.
So some may say like a friend is a friend, it doesn't matter. Because let's be real, like you can have a friend of the same sex who could have ill intentions, right?
That's true.
But more often than not, the controversy comes with like a man having a female friend outside of his relationship, and then what that means, or a woman having a friend with a male. Not all people are attracted to that person. Like, people think, you can't have a friend because they must like you.
Right.
Like, listen, stop assuming that every single person, or should I say your spouse, shouldn't assume that just because you interact with somebody, that person's even going to find you attractive.
That's true.
You're not everybody's flavor and cup of tea. I believe that you can platonically like interact with somebody, because I'll be real, like my husband thinks that. He'll be like, nope. It's okay. Like, you think it's
right.
It's impossible, but
right.
Maybe that's just because he loves me. He thinks I'm cute.
I think so. I think so.
Right. So that's the first thing. So, and then like I feel like younger me would have been like, in terms of like, my spouse, like if a girl cuts eyes at you, do the 180, look the other way, moonwalk. I don't even. Moonwalk away if she says something to you. I don't even care if you ordering food in the drive-thru. You better just, you better zip it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But older, on a serious note, older me realizes that it's inevitable to form those relationships at even to some standard, like whether it be in the workplace, whether it be networking, whether it be, having a friend of the opposite gender because you know them through a friend,
right,
or through a family member. So like that naive way of thinking when I was a bit younger, it's like, come on, realistically, you're going to at some point have a relationship or associateship with somebody of the opposite gender. But like I said, with that comes boundaries and understanding their intentions, and also setting, making known your intentions and what you want from the whatever you want to call it, relationship, friendship, so that's just like my fundamental thinking about the topic right now.
Yeah, I mean, I second the fact that like when I was younger, I was horrible at that. Like I used to torture Lewis. Like I was bad. Like it would be to the point where it was like it would be arguments had, because just being 100% honest, where I would feel like, no, I don't think that you should have even social media friends. It was just like, no, I feel like there should be social media is just, you like the picture or whatever the case is and you keep it moving. There's no need for you to have a conversation with someone of the opposite sex. Like, for what y'all talking about? Why I can't be involved in a conversation? Yes, exactly. So it's like you said, it's unrealistic, and it just, the fact about having boundaries is extremely important. But it's also unrealistic because it's just like, if you claim to trust your partner, then you have to trust that they will not disrespect you in any kind of way or put your relationship or make in a compromising situation with somebody of the opposite sex if they know that their intentions are not pure. I know I can trust my partner to say, nah, like, I'm gonna have to pump the brakes on this because I know this is inappropriate, and I know that my partner is not going to appreciate that because I know I wouldn't appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I had to definitely get myself out of that mentality.
And like you said, it's about trusting your partner, understanding that even if the other person gets inappropriate, that your spouse would pump the brakes on it.
Yeah.
You know? Yep. And like, just to elaborate on like boundaries, I feel like I said, it's unrealistic to think that at some point you won't have some kind of relationship with the opposite gender, friendship. But like, there's limitations. Right. I'm not going to hang out with you. Like, we're not hanging out. We're not going to be, I'm not doing anything that I know, first of all, that doesn't sit right with me morally, but also doing something that I feel would be disrespectful to my husband, you know? And then on top of that, there's being honest with your spouse. Like, hey, I met this person. They're really cool. Like, this is the extent of my interaction with them. Like, letting your spouse know, like, who this person is. If you see that I'm communicating with someone, like, I'm gonna have the respect to tell my husband, like, this is where I met this person. This is the extent of the communication with them. And and of course, like you said, him knowing that if somebody got out of line, I'm gonna pump the brakes on it. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna not only allow that person to disrespect my husband, I'm not gonna allow you to disrespect me when I'm in a relationship. Because there are people that are blatantly disrespectful. Yeah. There are people that will literally know you are with someone, a long relationship, and they will not care. Yeah. You know what I mean? They will not care. So it's about just setting boundaries with that friend and can I be honest? I wouldn't even say friend. I would just say associate, because I don't want to be nobody's. If it's not for the friends I already have and the people that, like, let's just be real. You're my associate. There's nothing personal going on, And then you have the situations where, like, let's give it a perfect example. My husband, who, it has a great relationship with you. You're his female friend through me, from you guys meeting each other through me. Then there's those types of relationships. You know what I'm saying? And then it comes about, like you said, trust. Just trust. A lot of people say, oh, well, it's not healthy if you don't want your friend, your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your man or your woman to have a friend because you're insecure. I don't think it's insecurity. I think it's just inappropriate to some extent. It has nothing to do with insecurity. Me saying my husband is not going to hang out with another female has nothing to do with insecurity. Right. I just don't think it's respectful. I agree. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I'm confident in who I am. If I don't trust my man, then what is it? I always say, if your spouse does something to make you question them, like, what are we doing? Exactly. The minute I feel like I have to question him, or I put him in a predicament where he has to question the way that I will move, that's that's just a whole problem y'all have to figure out. It got nothing to do with friend and anything like that. But like, let's be real, even, you know, meet and chase, like, my relationships with some of my best male friends had dissipated because they couldn't understand that I just wasn't gonna be doing certain things anymore. Like, we walked home together, or, you know, you came and kicked it, like, in my house, or you came for dinner, we went to the movies, and it was strictly platonic. You know what I'm saying? But I have I'm with somebody. It's just not, I don't even feel comfortable. You know, it has nothing to do with his insecurity towards me or my insecurity towards him. It's just like, to me, people move differently, but I am, and I could say the same for you. I know you're my sister. We set certain levels of respect that it's just like, it's a mutual thing, and we are in a level with our spouses where we already know how to move with one another.
To me, it becomes unhealthy when it's a double standard, because it's like, if I say to Lou, I'm like, Lou, I don't think that you should be going anywhere with your female friends. I don't want you talking to anybody. I don't want you communicating with females at all. And then I have John, Joe, Jay, and Joseph in my phone, and I'm texting them all the time, and we going for lunch, and well, to me, that's where it becomes, you know, toxic and unhealthy, because it's one-sided. Like, how am I the one that's going to be the only one in the relationship that's able to do that, when I'm putting limitations on Lou to not, you know, to not have that kind of relationship with the opposite sex. So to me, that's where it becomes unhealthy, and that's where it becomes a situation where, you know, it's showing insecurity, because it's like, if I can do it and Lewis can't do it, then what's the dynamic here? Like, what kind of tone am I setting, that I'm above all, and, like, you know, that I'm the only one that can be trusted? No, that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? And so that, I think that's where, just to touch upon, like, the lopsided, I guess, relationship, if you will, like, that, to me, that's where it becomes toxic. And one thing I wanted to mention too, just going back to, like, my toxic history and how I used to treat my husband. It was bad to the point where, you know, it was bad. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of it was on me. I'll take full ownership on that, because I was the one that was really, like, enforcing the like, just being super rigid in how I, like, wanted, you know, Lou to communicate with people. But one thing I will say is that I never wanted him to cancel any relationships that he had with people before me. Like, that was just always my thing. Cause I felt, in my opinion, I felt like, you know, it's only if, there's a stipulation there, only if they were strictly platonic. Like, if it was a platonic relationship and it was friendly, you know, I agree with you about going out. I ain't with all that, because if you going out, I'm coming. Like, why can't I come? But it's like, to the point where it was, I felt I didn't see the need in me saying, oh, you know, because he has, you know, a couple friends that I've met, female friends, that I love them. I think that they're great. But they were, you know, I would never say, like, oh, I don't want you talking to this person anymore. Because in my mind, I was like, well, who am I to say that? Like, I you know, these people were here before. I know you ain't laughing.
Girl, I'm just toxic all through and through this.
I don't think it's toxic. I just think that it was just something that I just wasn't. I wasn't all that bothered by, but I was,
like, it was just like a naive, like how I said how I thought when I was much younger. It's like a naive way of thinking, like, it's unrealistic.
Exactly.
Like, so you just had to do away with essentially your life or parts of your life. When I met Chase, he had a bunch of female friends,
right.
Not a problem. I already told him, whoever you was friends with, but were involved with at any time, I'm not okay with that.
Right.
If it was not platonic through and through, it's an automatic cut. And listen, it be what it be and it may what it may. I'm not comfortable with that whole, like, I'm not comfortable with that. He had one good friend, right? That he claimed, they were friends from childhood and everything like that.
Right.
So interesting, and I feel this is interesting. Part of all this is that when I had not told him to cut her off, but when he tried to establish boundaries with her, she didn't like it. You feel me? It was like, oh, so now you have a girlfriend and now we can hang out, or now we can talk. You're not calling my man at all types of times. That's not happening. No. You're not. Like, I feel like you have to respect when somebody, goes into a space where now, their life shifts. You meet somebody new, that's a whole life change. And there's just a certain level of respect, and you're not gonna call my man when you feel like it. You're not. You're not gonna ring his phone or ask him to do something when you want to. So he actually had to cut homegirl off because she gave him fever because she felt like, oh, we have been friends for so long. I can't believe that. Like, now there's rules to this because you're with somebody.
Right.
And I feel like you don't get it. You don't get it. And he was just like, he let her know, like, well, it is this or it is nothing. Like, this is my woman. You know what I'm saying?
If she was really just his friend, like, she would have like, look, I get it, because I wouldn't want my man to be texting his female friends all time of the day and night. Like, you understand the boundary. She wanted to be a little bit more than friends. Like,
if she didn't, she had feelings for him.
She had feelings,
at some point, more than a friend. Even
it
if
was more than a friend.
She didn't act on it because she saw from him it wasn't mutual. Right. Yo, you can have a friend for a long time and not even know they have feelings for you.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can that's possible. And like, to me, it's like that defensiveness is just like, not happening.
Not to deviate too much, but I feel like this is part of the reason why you gotta say everything up front. Like, what you willing to tolerate, what you're not willing to tolerate in the relationship up front. Because you don't want to get to a point in a relationship where, you've been tolerating things for so long. So then that person, rightfully so, is going to say, well, they cool with it. Like, she know that I'm texting Jennifer and everybody else, so I'm going to keep texting her.
That's right.
But if you know that it bothers you, then you should say something early on. Be like, look, I'm not with this. This is my only deal breaker right now, right here. Like, so either you're going to be with it or you're not. So I feel like just being upfront with your partner, like you said, setting those boundaries, but being upfront with them, letting them know, listen, this is what it is. This is how I feel. This is just something that I'm not going to bend on.
You may be in the workplace and there may be somebody that you work with for a long time who develops feelings for you it doesn't even have to be inappropriate. It could just be like, wow, listen, I like you, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Those are things that are unavoidable. What you gonna do? Quit your job? No. You respecting yourself and respecting your partner is creating boundaries with that person.
Right.
And at the end of the day, just like you said, respect and set standards from the beginning.
Exactly.
From the get-go, yo, we too old. Like, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, this is what I'm not comfortable with, and this is what I am comfortable with. And if you're not on board, you're not the person for me.
That's it.
People sometimes are so scared to speak up because there's some other qualities about that person that they love, but then you should never compromise on what you want out of something. You know, and if you know yourself and like, I'm not going to be able to deal with that.
That's
know what I'm saying? You deserve to be able to set boundaries for yourself.
That's right.
I want to hear what you think about this. This is kind of like on the other end of the spectrum. Like, my husband is a loner. If it's not his family, like, and his brothers, like, my brothers or his cousin or his brother,
right?
He really don't have a lot of friends. He don't have friends. His friends are like his family members.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when at some point when he, when I met him, he did have like a couple of guy friends. And it's so interesting that as a man, he set boundaries with his male friends because he just didn't feel comfortable with nobody being in a space like with his wife. So it's also so interesting. Like you set, boundaries with the opposite sex. You set boundaries with your same sex friends. And and I said that to say that could mean the same thing with a woman who has a female friend around her man. You feel me?
I'm so happy that you brought that up because I did not think about that. Men know how men are and women know how women can be. Let's say I have an associate, I don't really talk to her that much, but we cool.
We cool, right?
If I know how she is, if she's flirtatious and she's always around my man, like, nah. Like, I know how females can be in the same with Chase. And I have to respect him for that because Lou also, in some respect, did this, has the same mindset. Yeah. It's like, especially if you're in a serious relationship with somebody that you love, you're not going to want to put, he's not going to want to put you, or Lou is not going to want to put me in a position where we feel uncomfortable around anybody that's in their lives. And that could be their friends too. Like, it don't matter because they know how men can operate, and there's like we know how women can operate. If you have people in your circle that's real, and like, listen, this is my brother. I know he ain't gonna do nothing around, to try to jeopardize my relationship or to try to put my wife in a situation where she feels uncomfortable, then that's great. But if you know that you have partners that's not like that, and they're gonna try to shoot their shot any way that they can, then I respect it. Chase is like, nah, and Lewis will do the same thing. So I'm for it.
Even a couple of his friends that I would tell him, like, I don't think they would ever. Like, I would feel like, I was like, I really don't think they would disrespect you. Like, he just straight up be like, I don't care. It takes one look in the wrong direction for this all to be done. So for me to maintain, and then it's not his insecurity with me, because he knows I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to present myself respectfully. I used to say, babe, why don't you invite them over? Like, watch it, do something. Be like, no, thank you. Like, no, thank you. You know what I mean? And he's like, it just takes one look, and that's gonna just ruin everything. And then it's also the, like, I just don't trust nobody. And I think that's like that. We're like that as females, but men are really like blatant about it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Because come on, like, our men, this ain't their first rodeo. Let's be honest. They know how the game is. So they like, nah, I'm not trying to do that. Like, I don't trust nobody, because I get it. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put myself in that position or my spouse in that position. So
that's right.
I respect it.
And let's normalize, and this will be my last thing to say. Let's normalize other people respecting someone else's relationship.
Right.
Yo, because how many times you see like men blatantly disrespectful, knowing a woman's in a relationship and trying to consistently shoot his shot. Woman knowing that that's somebody's home man. And it's like they say, oh, well, it's up to your man or your woman to turn them down. Okay, but don't even put them in a position where they have to, if he's with or she's with somebody.
Exactly.
Like, and if I tell you and you continue or you're persistent, like, you just disrespectful.
That's all it is. Exactly. Exactly. And that's not cool. Like, just like you said, respect people's boundaries. There's enough fish in the sea. You got all different types of people out here. You ain't gotta go after nobody else's man or woman, girl, boy.
Like, listen.
Do you know how many people are looking for love? Go find them. Don't try to come up on my man.
Exactly. But there's some crazy people that it's like what they can't have, they want, girl.
They want. It's true. Well, they better bad back.
Exactly. Exactly. So, right, girl. So, yes, y'all, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
And to hit that notification bell.
It's official. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Ding. Sistas Bonafide.